What is up, Maniacs, and welcome to Broadened Horizon. I'm your host, as always, Drake Riggs, here to bring you the 24th installment of the show. Our three-guest lineup gets you ready for the first Ryzen event of the year, Ryzen 41, as well as Bellator 292. Starting things off will be the young savage, Sho Patrick Usami, who will complete the trifecta of 3 consecutive Ryzen events featured on. Then we welcome the former Ryzen Lightweight Grand Prix champion, Tofiq Musayev, who faces Alexander Shabli at Bellator 292 on March 10th in San Jose, California. The bout will kick off the opening round of the Bellator Lightweight title tournament. Lastly, the always outspoken Ryusei Ashizawa closes things out ahead of his Ryzen debut and main event at Ryzen 41 opposite bitter rival Koji. Thanks as always to all the guests for chatting, and thanks to everyone who supported the show and all of those who provided questions for the end. Whether you've been watching on MMania.com, YouTube, or listening on Spotify, don't forget to hit like and share if you enjoy. Kicking things off, it's Sho Patrick Usami. All right. Well, Sho, good to see you, man. Hope you're doing well. Just how are things? How has 2023 started out for you, sir? How's it been?
宇佐美選手、今回初めてのインタビューお時間いただいてありがとうございます。早速ですが、今年2023年、今のところ、宇佐美選手にとってどんな1年ですか？
そうですね。自分は、自分にある穴をしっかり埋めていって、今、だんだん、なんですかね、自分の MMA を仕上げていってる感じですね。はい、順調です。
So far, this year has been doing well. I have been working on my weak points, and I've been strengthening my weak points. So I believe that my fight style has becoming more solidified. So it's a good start.
Yeah, I think we've seen that in the recent performances, man. Looking good, looking like a savage, as your nickname is. And I got to ask, man, where did this nickname come from? Because you are living up to it quite nicely. Did somebody give it to you? Give it to yourself? What's the story behind the savage nickname?
宇佐美選手のこのスタイルが、確立されているっていう部分に関しては、大晦日のパフォーマンスを見ても、非常に素晴らしいものだったと思いましたし、海外の、サイトのニックネームでは、宇佐美選手のニックネーム、サベージってなっているんですが、非常にパフォーマンスに合ったいいニックネームだと思います。そのニックネームの、由来というか、どういうふうについたのかちょっと教えてもらってよろしいですか？
それは僕自分では全然決めてなくて、もともと前おった、事務所、契約してたところが、名前をつけてくれたって感じですかね。はい。
So I honestly didn't come up with the name at all, but my former management, who I was at the time, gave me that nickname when I made my debut.
Okay. All right. Did they have any specific reason behind it? I'm sure your performances lived up to a little bit of the reason there, but did they explain what kind of the thought process was behind it?
本当に宇佐美選手のそのファイトスタイルとニックネームが本当に合致しているので、そのマネージメントからニックネームもらったとき、何か彼らは特別な理由付けとかは何かあったんですか？
やっぱり格闘技の試合をしてても、野生的本能的な試合をするから、野生的っていうので、多分サベージっていうのがついたかと思います。
So when I fight, I fight with my natural instincts, more my natural instinct. So I think that's why my management gave me that, that nickname, Savage, where it kind of relates to the natural killer instincts I have.
Definitely, man. Like I said, living up to it quite nicely. Always fun getting to watch you fight. And, it's still early on, man. Started in 2021 as a pro now and going very well. I mean, how did you kind of get into MMA in the first place, man? What was kind of the start of it all for you?
今、宇佐美選手、成功されているが、まだ非常にキャリアが若いと思います。2021年、この世界に入ってから、急激に格を表してきたんですが、そもそもどういうきっかけで、総合格闘技に転向しようと思ったんですか？
はい、もともとは自分ボクシングをやってまして、東京オリンピック目指してたんですけど、その選考会で負けてしまって準決勝で。っていう時に、ネットを見てる時に総合格闘技のオーディションがあるっていうのに引き寄せられて、その応募して、そのオーディションが受かって、そこから MMA の道を、なんていうかな、これで食っていくっていうのを決めたって感じですかね。はい。
So I originally was competing in boxing, and I was aiming for the Tokyo Olympics at the time, but I got eliminated in the qualifiers, the semifinals. So I wasn't able to participate in the Tokyo Olympics. And then I found in an ad where they were looking for athletes looking to transition into MMA, that there were tryouts. And I applied and they picked me, and that's when I started like fully transitioning into MMA and knowing that this is going to be my next career.
All right, there you go. And was it what was the most difficult part of actually getting into MMA? I'm sure obviously the grappling was a big part to adjust to, as it is for most people who are strikers only, but what would you say was specifically kind of the toughest part of getting into MMA at the start?
まあ、打撃のバックボーンを持つ選手が MMA を始めると、大抵はそのグラウンドに慣れるまでが大変だというふうに、言われるんですが、宇佐美選手は、ボクシングから MMA に転向したとき、何が一番大変だったんですか？
そうですね。やっぱりボクシングから総合格闘技にこう変わってから、その戦う時間も伸びましたし、そのペース配分っていうのが一番僕の中でこうなんていう考えるのが難しいかなって思いました。はい。
Yeah, so for me, I think setting the pace on how you fight is one of the things that I struggled the most in transitioning. Obviously, how you use your body and how you use your stamina and just how you pace yourself in a fight was the hardest thing that I had to adjust with from boxing.
Definitely, man. And I think you've got that covered pretty good now, of course, as you got the rhythm down, all these fights in. And I mean, man, you're getting so much activity and racking up on each Ryzen event so far. And I'm sure you were familiar with Ryzen before you joined the brand in itself. But I got to wonder, like, what was the feeling like of making your Ryzen debut when you did just this past October against Shinji Sasaki, man? I'm sure that was a big deal for you. Like I said, still very early in the career and you're already on this platform. What was that experience like making the debut?
宇佐美選手は本当にプロデビューをしてから、すごい速度で出世しているわけなんですが、今やもうライジンで、2戦をして、すごいスピードで試合をこなしていますが、宇佐美選手はライジンに、でデビューする前からライジンのことは知っていましたか？そして、そのライジンでデビューした時の気持ちってどういった感覚だったですか？
その自分はもうその大晦日もそうですし、やっぱり大晦日といえばライジンっていうのもありましたし、やっぱずっとライジンのことはもう知ってましたし、試合も毎回こう見させてもらってて、で、こう実際自分がライジンにデビューするっていうのが、まあ、こう叶って、そのなんですかね、自分の中ですごいライジンで戦える舞台ってすごい、そのデビュー戦の時は本当になんですかね、いろいろな感情も重なってこう泣いてしまったんですけど、試合終わった後に。でもライジンっていう舞台でそのデビュー戦はもう最高でしたね、ライジンは。はい。とりあえず最高でした。
So obviously I knew about Ryzen. I knew about New Year's Eve's. Ryzen is a tradition. Fights are, and I've knew about Ryzen this whole time. I've watched it. I followed it. So yeah, I absolutely knew about it. And making a debut, fighting in Ryzen was just something. It's such a special stage that not everybody gets to compete in. So when I made my debut, I got all emotional and I was in tears after the fight. But in other words, it's just awesome. It's an awesome experience. It's a great place to be.
Absolutely, man. And I mean, getting that first win over a notable veteran like Shinji Sasaki, the husband of the legendary Megumi Fuji, always got to point that out. Big deal. Getting a win over like him, man. Like, how much more special did it make it? Did you have pressure like going into this matchup, not just because of the Ryzen stage, but, a notable name like Sasaki, who's been around for a good while and a respected name as well?
宇佐美選手のライジンデビュー戦は佐々木俊選手で、業界的にも非常に名前の知れ渡って、ましてや藤めぐさんの旦那さんということで、いろいろと肩書きのある選手だったんですが、ライジンデビュー戦でそういった名前のある実力のある選手と、やるっていうことに対して、プレッシャーは感じましたでしょうか？
そうですね。やっぱり藤めぐさんの旦那さんでもあり、佐々木さんはすごいなんですかね、寝技も三角締めの名手って言われるぐらい本当にすごい選手なので、でもやっぱりその佐々木選手と対戦できたやっぱでもどうやろう。 プレッシャーはすごい、まあ、感じてました。はい、正直。
Yeah, so obviously, Sasaki is a veteran, and he's Megumi Fujimegu's husband. He's got a name, he's got accomplishments, and he's a great grappler. His triangle is almost like patent, and he's got a great submission game. So obviously, yeah, I did feel pressure heading into that fight against such a name and such a fighter.
Absolutely, man. And like, I'm curious at this point, Show, with these recent successes that you've been having, like, do you feel like you're progressing faster than you expected when you started, your transition into MMA from boxing? Or is this going about as quickly and well as you thought it would when you started out?
宇佐美選手の試合を見ていて、一試合ごとにすごく、見ている側からするとすごく成長を感じるのですが、ご自身としては何か急激に強くなってるとか成長してるっていう手応えあったりしますか？それともまだまだ全然なのか？ご自身ではどう？
成長はできてると思うんですけど、全然満足はしてないですね。やっぱりなんか、誰もが認める最強って言われたいんで、全然まだまだかなと思ってます。
Yeah, so I do feel that I am progressing. I feel that I'm getting better, but I am not close to being satisfied at all. Obviously, I want to be the world. I want to be the undisputed fighter, the best fighter in the world. So I have absolutely no intentions of being satisfied with where I am right now.
Of course, man, that's the mentality you have to have, right? Always growing and improving with each and every fight, and one step at a time, of course. And you already mentioned the New Year's Eve show experience, and you got to get that out of the way, man. Checked it off with the second fight, and in about as crazy a fashion as you can, that knockout was knockout of the year material. I mean, absolutely stiffed poor Bay Noah, man. That was just ruthless stuff, nasty savagery. As living up to the nickname again, that was crazy. 45 seconds? I mean, it does not get much better than that, Show. I mean, crazy stuff. How do you even describe what that felt like? Talking about New Year's Eve and being on that stage, and with the Bellator aspect, all these crazy things about Ryzen 40, and then you go out there and get that kind of knockout, like. That's like a dream come true, right? What was that like? Was that overwhelming, man?
宇佐美選手、先ほど大晦日は格闘技というふうに、おっしゃったわけなんですが、宇佐美選手はその舞台にわずかライジン2戦目で、立てました。そして素晴らしいパフォーマンス。本当に、宇佐美選手の、出場した大晦日の大会っていうのは、ベラトールとの対抗戦があったり、本当に大晦日のイベントの中でも特別なものだったと思われて、注目度の高いものだったと思います。その中で45秒っていう、中で素晴らしい秒差 KO をしたあの時の瞬間っていうのはどういう気持ちですか？
いやー、もう僕もあんまり記憶ないんですけど、映像を見る限りではもうなんですかね、もう味わえないですよね、その時にしか。もうそれが中毒性があってやめれないんじゃないかって格闘技って感じですかね。はい、多分。
So I actually don't remember much from that moment. But all I can remember is just I have to rewatch. When I rewatch the fight, I understand how it is, but it's just one of those things where it's just so addictive. It's just extremely addictive. Those moments, that's what we live for, and that's why it's just so, this sport is so addictive. And I think that's what we fight for. That's what we want to feel. So I can't really describe it because I don't remember. But
Fair enough. Blacked out a little bit, man. I totally understand that. I mean, what'd you do to celebrate? I'm sure you had a good old time afterwards too, right?
宇佐美選手は勝利をどのように祝いましたか？
そうですね、家族とそのサポートしてくれてるみんなで一緒にご飯食べて、なんかもうゆっくりみんなで年越しましたね。はい。
Yeah, so we went out, with my family, with the people who support me. We had a feast, we had a good time, and we spent a great time on celebrating the New Year.
Awesome stuff, man. Yeah, well deserved, and it's been a great start, a great way to go into the new 2023, of course, and getting ready to kick that off here. But it's really fascinating to me, Show. Like, you look at your rising career so far, obviously off to about as perfect as a start as you could ask for, but I feel like in a way you kind of springboarded off of, not a bad opportunity, but something you missed out on with the road to UFC. You know, you were supposed to fight there, right? Have that fight, but it didn't happen. What I believe it was a weight issue. I don't know exactly what happened there, but you know, that doesn't happen, and then you turn it into something really good with Ryzen so far. So I'm just curious for you, like, when you look at last year and how that didn't happen, and then the Ryzen stuff happens, like, how do you kind of look back on it all and reflect, you know, I'm sure you still maybe hope to fight in the UFC someday. Just where is kind of your thought process with how things played out? Because it's very unique, you know, going through the process and promotions that you have gone through now.
まあ、宇佐美選手の今を見てみると、ライジンで2戦して素晴らしいスタートダッシュを切ってます。まあ、言ってしまえば本当に完璧な、ライジンでのキャリアを始めてると思うんですが、皮肉なことにというか、宇佐美選手はもうロードトゥ UFC に出るつもりで、そちらがうまくいかなかったということから急展開でライジンでの成功が、まあ、結果的に見ればそういうふうになっているのですが、ご自身で、こういう、まあ、運命とか、本当だったら UFC に出てたものが、そっちがなったおかげで今のライジンの成功があるっていうふうに考えると、去年の、まあ、一年の流れ振り返ってみて、どういうふうに感じますか？ UFC は、まあ、まだ諦めてないのか、今はライジンでやっていくのかっていう、どういう、気持ちの変化が起きていますか？
いや、もう正直に、そうですね。やっぱり今、この自分が失敗して、まあ、そのライジンで試合を組んでもらって、その試合ができて、まあ、いいスタートは切れてるんですけど、全然自分の中でもそんなに、なんですかね、まあ、試合ごとに課題は見つかるばっかで、その完璧な試合も何もないんで、自分としては全然何も、まだまだ満足できてない状態で、やっぱ海外とかはやっぱり自分の穴をしっかり埋めて、からもう完璧な状態で、もう最強な状態で行きたいと思ってます。はい。
Yeah, so looking back, it was my fault that, I missed an opportunity. And, the fact that, you may say, it's a perfect starter, it's a perfect way to start a career in a different promotion, but, I can only see things to work on after each fight. I'm not nearly close on being a perfect fighter, or I'm just still in the process. So, I'm not satisfied with my start at all. And I know that there's so many things to work on. So I believe that right now is the time to work on myself, work on perfecting myself, perfecting my style. And then the next time I go out and challenge and take on the world is when I know I'm perfect, when I know I can take on the world. So that will be my next challenge. But right now I'm working on perfecting myself.
Again, a good mentality to have, man. I think it's, of course, especially at this stage, not to think that you're the best already and continue to grow. You don't want to get stopped somewhere, plateau early. So I think you have kind of the right thought process there. And it continues at Ryzen 41, obviously, April 1st coming up here against Kyung Pyo Kim, of course. Just how much do you know about him? What are you expecting out of this matchup? I'm sure you're excited to get in there. And, I mean, how do you even top the Bay Noah knockout, man? Like, is that possible? How do you do this?
宇佐美選手、次の相手が、キム・ギョンポ選手なんですが、対戦相手について、どれだけ知ってますか？そして、まあ、前回のパフォーマンスよりもいい試合結果っていうのはなかなか望めないと思うんですが、どういうふうに試合を終わらせたいと思ってますか？
そうですね。やっぱり、その対戦相手は、そのロードトゥ USC の試合も見てるし、すごいリスペクトもしてるんですけど、でもやっぱり、なんですかね、試合見てると、簡単には勝たしてくれないと分かってるんですけど、やっぱりしっかり手を上げるのは、最後に上げるのは自分だと思ってるんで、まあ、しっかり自分のいい打撃のスキルで、まあ、仕留めようかなと思ってます。はい。
I've seen most of his fights. I've seen, his fight in the road to UFC fights. He's a good fighter, and I know he's not gonna let me win easily. But I know that at the very end of the day, I'm gonna do everything it takes to get my hand raised at the end of the fight. I would like to use my boxing skills and abilities to make that happen.
Yeah, it's kind of funny. I forgot that you guys both kind of have the road to UFC ties in in some aspect, huh? So it's kind of funny to see it happen now in Ryzen in that regard. But I'm curious, man. Like, is there any bit of you at all that wants to go out there and like show off a submission ability that you might have? Like, obviously, people think of you for your striking and the knockouts now, and that's where you're most comfortable. But are you at that point yet where you're like, all right, I'll play around there a little bit. Maybe submission would be cool, or you try and just stick to what's got you the win so far. How do you feel about that aspect?
宇佐美選手、打撃のストライカーなんですけれども、その中で、あえて、サブミッションで勝ってやろうとか、寝技を見せてやろうっていう気持ちはあったりしますか？
もちろん、その場合によってはそういう寝技になれば、僕はもう一本も取りに行こうと思ってます、今回。はい。しっかり準備してます。
Yeah, obviously, it's an MMA fight. I'll be ready for, if the opportunity is there, I'm ready to take it. And, I'm prepared for whatever happens in the fight.
Spoken like a true MMA fighter, sir. So I can't blame you there. But all right, Joe. Last thing I will leave you with, man. Always a fun question I like to leave the guests with that I haven't spoken to before. So for you, I got to know, if you never got into MMA or combat sports at all, what do you think you'd be doing instead?
宇佐美選手、格闘技やってなかったら、
はい。
何やってたと思いますか？
サッカーか野球じゃないですか。
It's probably soccer or baseball.
Okay. All right. Fair enough. I see you have the Dodgers hat on. Would that be your favorite baseball team?
今 LA の
はい。かぶってます。はい。
All right. Very
Yes.
cool.
Okay.
Very cool, man. Yeah, can't go wrong there. So, all right, Joe. Well, can leave it there, sir. Appreciate you taking the time so much. It's been great watching the career so far. Been very fun. A savage, like I said. Cannot say it enough. A great knockout to close out last year, and I'm sure you're hoping to get. Obviously, we'll try and get better ones because that's a tough one to top. The Baino one was very good, but I wish you the best of luck here coming up against Kim. We'll be watching. Will be a great card as always. So best of luck, sir, and thank you so much for taking the time. Big arigato gozaimashita to you, and I hope you have a great day.
はい。ありがとうございました。しっかり良い試合するんで、みんなそうですね、圧倒的に倒すんで、また見といてください。よろしくお願いします。
Yeah, Drake, thank you very much for your time. I'll work on delivering a good knockout. So keep your eyes on me. Thank you very much.
And joining us now is the former Ryzen Lightweight Grand Prix champion turned Bellator number 2 ranked lightweight, Tofiq Musayev. All right, awesome. Well, what is up, Tofiq, man? Good to see you. Hope things are well. Just how was the day been treating you? You're down in Florida, right? So can't be too bad. Got good weather, I'm sure.
Florida'da işler necə gedir? Orada hava indi çox gözəldir. Özün necə istəyirsən orada?
Hər şey qaydasındadır. Səhər axşam məşqləri edirik. Hər şey yaxşıdır. Hər şey axar ilə qaydasında gedir.
Everything's great. Morning, evening, we're training. So everything goes great and by plan.
Very cool. Very cool. Good to hear, man. I know you've been doing the work at Killcliff, right? And I know you were obviously in LA for the press conference. When did you start the camp with Killcliff for this fight? And how long have you just been in the States preparing for this one?
Deyir ki, mən bilirəm, sən deyəsən Killcliff'də kəmpi keçsən bildiyimə görə, ondan da qabaq Los Angeles'də press konferansiyadaydın. Necə gəlirsən Killcliff'də məşqlərin və haçan sən ümumiyyətlə Amerikaya gəldin döyüşə hazırlaşmaq üçün?
Demək olar ki, mən bir ay yarımdır buradayam, hazırlaşıram. Öz məşqçim Ruslan Əfəndiyev və Genre'nin Killcliff'in yəni bildiyiniz kimi yəni baş məşqçisi Henry Hoff'la bərabər hazırlaşırıq və yarışa. Hər şey plan üzrə gedir. Şükürlər olsun ki, hər şey istədiyimiz kimi gedir.
So it's been a month and a half already since I've been in the United States at Killcliff getting ready together with my head coach Ruslan Efendiyev and my other head coach Henry Hooft, who, as you know, is the head coach of Killcliff. So yeah, we've been training together. Everything goes by plan, thanks God, and thanks God everything goes well, and as we're planning to go.
Yeah, and you also got Vugar with you, right, man? You guys are both training for your fights coming up. Just like how cool is that for you guys to get to go and train at a great gym like Kill Cliff in the States here, and prepare for both your big fights that you have coming up together.
Sən Vüqarla deyəsən məşq edirsən. Sizin birgə Cliff-də məşqiniz necə hissdir sənin üçün? Və çünki sizin ikinizin də qabaqdan çox önəmli döyüşləriniz gəlir. O hisslərin haqqında zəhmət olmasa paylaşın.
No, əsas yarışa hazırlıqdır, hər şey plan üzrə gedir. Təbii ki, yəni burada sparring partnyor çoxdur. Həm də məşqləri ağırdır, yaxşı keçir məşqləri. Hər şey qaydasındadır. Bir yerdə hazırlaşırıq. Hərəmizin, yəni Vüqar aprelin 1-i vuruşur, mən martın 11-i. Yəni hər şey plan üzrə gedir. Şükürlər olsun ki, yəni məşqlər əsas odur ki, ağır məşqlər demək olar ki, etapı keçmişik, hər şey qaydasındadır. Özümüzü yəni yaxşı hiss edirik, yaxşı formadayıq. Çalışacağıq ki, yaxşı döyüş göstərək. Baleşkilərin də xoşlarına gəlsin.
The main thing is that the training is going by plan. We are training very well. The training sessions are intense. There are a lot of great sparring partners in our gym, which is very important. As in, so the Vugar's fight is on April 1st. Mine is on March 10th. So we're preparing as hard as possible. We're ready. And as I mentioned, everything goes by plan. And we're looking forward to our events. And we're looking forward to deliver fantastic fights for our fans. That's what's most important for us.
Yeah, man, looking forward to it as well. And I mean, it's just really cool to kind of get to watch both of your guys' journeys in your MMA careers. Obviously doing very, very well and representing Azerbaijan very proudly and doing a great job of it. And I just want to ask you kind of about that because you guys are kind of the faces, of MMA from your country. So I want to know, like, how important and kind of special is that for both of you guys to kind of, carry the flag with you guys and represent your country as best as you can, because you're doing a very good job of it, but just like how much of a motivation is that for both of you guys together as you go into each and every fight and try and do your best in your careers overall?
Siz ikiniz de Azerbaycan'ın en önde gelen dövüşçülərisiniz və layiqincə öz ölkənizi təmsil edirsiniz və siz ölkənizin ən qabaq sırada getdiyi MMA dövüşçüləri kimi sizə nə hisslər verir bayrağı daşımaq, ölkənizi belə səviyyədə layiqincə təmsil eləmək, o necədir sizin üçün və onun haqqında danışın.
Təbii ki, yəni biz o ölkədə böyümüşük, o ölkədə öyrəyin suyunu içmişiksə, biz o torpağı, o ölkənin bayrağını layiqincə təmsil eləmək özümüzə borc bilirik. Və həmişə də çalışırıq ki, ölkəmizi, bayrağımızı layiqincə təmsil eləyək və bizim ölkəmizdən gənclərinə örnək olaq və çalışırıq ki, və bizim ölkədə necə xarakterli döyüşçülər olduğunu bütün ölkəyə sübut eləyək.
So we grew up in this land. We're proud to represent our country. To raise our flag is our obligation. And another factor is to motivate the youth. The youth watching us, we're kind of paving the way for the younger generation in this sport. And I hope that the world is going to see how many more fighters with character there are in Azerbaijan.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Definitely doing a great job of paving the way for sure, and continue onward doing that with the matchup coming up here against Alexander Shabli. Going to be a fun one. I mean, a crazy tournament you're in, man. Lots of talent around you, including yourself. But with this first matchup here, just what do you kind of make of him as an opponent? What are you expecting, Tofiq? Because I think a lot of people look at you as one of the favorites in the tournament, but some people look at Shabli as maybe one of the underdogs of it. I don't know. Just what do you make of him as your first opponent here, and what he kind of brings to the table for you as a fighter?
Çok önemli dövüşlerini qabalı gözləyir. Çox seryoz oponentə qarşı. Çox adam onu Çox adam onu yəni favorit kimi də baxır, çox adam da ona baxır. Belə, yəni elə də güclü döyüşçü kimi də yox. Amma sən özünün fikirlərin nədir bunun barəsində? Yəni Aleksandr Şabli barəsində sən onu necə bir rəqib kimi görürsən və onun haqqında fikirlərini bildir.
Mən istər oradakı olan rəqiblərin hamısına hörmətlə yanaşıram. Mənim üçün fərqi yoxdur. Yəni mənim üçün rəqib fərqi yoxdur və çalışırıq ki, yəni belə deyək də o qoyulan planı biz vaxtından əvvəl yerinə yetirməyə çalışırıq.
I respect all the guys there. I respect all of the opponents. To me, it doesn't matter who is the opponent. I'm gonna show up and show out. And to me, it's always to finish the things earlier than we have planned. So that's what my priority is.
Of course, man. Get in, get out, do good work in there. And I mean, you fought so many different types of opponents in your career already, Tofiq. Do you feel like there's anything Shabli brings to the fight with you that you haven't seen before?
Sən çoxlu stildə rəqiblərlə vuruşmusan karyeranda. Sən karyeran ərzində çoxlu fərqli stildə olan döyüşçülərlə vuruşmusan. Shabli'də elə bir şey var ki, sənin üçün yenilik ola bilər və o yeni bir şey gətirirmi o stil cəhətdən?
Yox, yeni bir şey yoxdur. Yəni belə deyək də. Yəni sadəcə belə də bir döyüşçü kimi ona mən uvajeniyam var. Yəni hörmətlə yanaşıram. Sadəcə bu. Yəni qeyri-adi bir şey yoxdur. Yəni mən oktagonda mənlə üz-üzə dayanırsa mənim üçün rəqibdir. Yəni fərqi yoxdur mənim üçün. Hər bir idmançının özünə məxsus öz planı var. Biz də plan üzrə çalışacağıq ki, hər şey yəni belə deyək də istər parterdə, istər stoykada, yəni bizim özümüzə məxsus öz planımız var və plan üzrə layiqincə çalışacağıq yerinə yetirmək. Qeyri-adi bir şey görmürəm mən.
There's nothing new for me that he can bring to the table in a fight with me. I respect him as a person. I respect him as a fighter. I'm getting ready myself very seriously. Whether it's on the ground, whether it's standing up, I'm gonna be fully prepared. I have my own plan, and I'm just looking forward to it. But he's just another opponent for me, and that's the way I view it.
For sure, man. And, I know you're no stranger to tournaments in the first place here, Tofiq. Obviously we're part of the Ryusei one a couple of years ago. But I got to wonder, man, is it like weird hanging out at all around like all the lightweights at the press conference and being so close sitting next to everybody? Is that weird at all? Is it just kind of like, this is what we got to do? Or you feel like, everybody's kind of trying to plant their flag a little bit? Is it weird, I guess, being around all your potential possible opponents in those kind of settings?
Təbii ki, sənin bu ilk turnirin deyil, sənin artıq optun var belə turnirlərdə, amma sənin üçün biraz qəribə gəlmir, sən indi press konferansiyada bütün rəqiblərlə bir sırada oturmağın, yəni onlara baxıb bilməyin ki, bunların hər birisinə sən vuruşa bilərsən. O sənə hansısa bir qəribə hiss verirmi?
Qəribə hiss vermir, əksinə bu mənə motivasiya verir. Çünki mən bir dəfə bu Grand Prix-ni yaşamışam, mən bilirəm nə var. Bu mənim həyatımda ikinci Grand Prix-dir. Və bir Grand Prix-dən uzaq çıxmışıq. İnşallah ki, buradan da uzaq çıxarıq, Allahın köməyi ilə. Yəni, mənim üçün orada belə deyək də, kimi o döyüşçülərin gəlməyi, hərəsi, nə bilim, özünə məxsus, nə bilim, öz stili, öz, nə bilim, geyimi, öz döyüşü. Yəni, mənim üçün necə deyim, onlar mənim üçün motivasiyadır, fərqi yoxdur. Mən həmişə demişəm ki, həmişə müsahibələrimdə demişəm ki, mən çalışmışam həmişə güclülərlə vuruşam. Yəni, belə deyək də, hamı tarix oxuyur, tarix kitabından mı oxuyur, tarix yazan az. Mən həmişə çalışıram ki, onların sırasında olun. Zəng gəlir.
Nothing weird. For me, when I'm sitting with them, it only motivates me even more. It's not, as you mentioned, it's not my first tournament. It's not my first Grand Prix. I am already experienced in this, and I've handled the previous ones. I'm sure I'm gonna handle this one as well. And everyone has their own style. Everyone dresses up differently. Everyone has their own character. So it's all interesting, but all of that only motivates me. And as I've said in my interviews before, throughout my career, I only look forward to fighting the best. I'm here to fight the best. So I'm just looking forward to it, to handling this business now again.
Well, speaking of that, man, it's very interesting because after you debuted in Bellator, obviously got a fantastic win over Sydney Outlaw in, like 27 seconds, went in there, just blew the doors off the place. Like, a lot of people thought you should have been fighting for the title next. Instead, it goes to Usman. Now you're not fighting Usman after he wins the title. Like, everyone's ready to see you fight for the title already, Tofiq. And obviously, if you continue to win your way through the tournament, that will happen just naturally. But were you disappointed at all not getting to fight Usman first in the tournament here and be a part of like the first title fight as part of the tournament, or is it no big deal for you because, again, like I said, you know that that's going to happen as long as you win?
Sen ilk debütün Bellator'da 28 saniyelik knockoutla başa çattı Sydney Outlaw'a karşı çok güzel bir çıxış idi. Və və sən birinci contender olandan sonra hamı gözləyirdi ki, sən yəqin ki kəmərə vuruşasan. Amma sənin yerinə onu verdilər Usmana. Sən onun barəsində o hadisə barəsində nə fikirləşsən? O səni narahat elədimi? O səni biraz pis elədimi ona bu döyüşü vermələri? Və sizin də birlikdə turnirdəsiniz. Təbii ki, sən turnirdə qabağa getdikcə onunla görüşmək şansın da artır. Və yəqin ki, ikiniz də utsaz, siz görüşəcəksiniz. Və onun barəsində sən nə fikirləşsən sizin Usmanla görüşməniz barəsində?
Yo, təbii ki, bir döyüşçü kimi mənə xoş olmadı. Sadəcə olaraq yəni belə deyərdim də, özü də yaxşı bilir ki, yəni orada kəmərə layiq ondan da yaxşı idmançılar var. Təbii ki, yəni mən birinci pretendent sayılırdımsa, yəni Sydney Outlaw reytingdə birdə gedirdisə, təbii ki, kəmər döyüşü mən vuruşmalıydım. Yəni, mənə də xoş olmadı sadəcə onu vuruşmağı. Mən istəyərdim oyla vuruşmaq. Yəni, Lvoy Vremya mən oyla hazıram vuruşmağa. Yəni, özü də kəmərə. Yəni, özü də yaxşı bilir ki, yəni mənim artıq Pitbull'la bir tariximiz olub, istoriyamız olub. Yəni, mən oyla Pitbull'un özü də şəxsən öz Twitter'ində paylaşmışdı ki, mən artıq rəqibimi bildim, mən kimə qarşı vuruşacağam və bu bizim üçün artıq ikinci bir tarix olacaq Tofiqlə döyüşməyimiz. Mənə də xoş olmadı ki, yəni onun kəmərə vuruşmağı. Belə deyək də, hər şeyi təşkilat həll edir, hər şeyi yəni bilən bilir ki, yəni burada nə strategiya oldu, nə oyun oldu. Mən indi bilmirəm, amma yəqin ki, gec-tez var, mən onunla Lvoy Vremya kəmərə istəyərəm vuruşum.
As a fighter, obviously, it made me a little upset because, in my opinion, I think I was deserving it. I should have fought for the title, beating the #1 contender. That brings me to the title fight next, in my opinion. And he knows himself that there were many other fighters who deserved the shot more than he did. But I think everyone knows the politics of the game and everyone understands the rules of the game. So it is what it is. I'd love to fight him. I'd love to fight him for the belt. I'm ready to fight him anytime. I've been calling him out before as well. Even when they announced this fight, even when I beat Sydney Outlaw, Patrick Pitbull, he tweeted on Twitter that I know who the next opponent is. We have a history already together, so I think he was ready to fight me as well for the second fight, for a rematch. And you guys know that we have a history already together. But again, as I said, it is what it is. Whatever happened. I'm ready to fight him anytime.
Yeah, all very perfectly said there indeed, man. And so, I mean, with that in mind too, Tofiq, prediction-wise, do you expect, for the tournament to shake out where you will see Usman in the finals? Do you think he'll be the guy from the other side of the bracket that, you'll end up fighting? Not to look ahead, of course, but if you had to guess who would go, to that final fight against you, presumably.
Çox qabağa getmək istəmirəm təbii ki, amma belə bir ssenari götürsək ki, sizin tərəfdən sən çıxsan finala, o biri tərəfdən sən nə proqnoz verirsən? Sənin proqnozunca kim çıxa bilər? Sənin fikrincə Usman sənlə finalda görüşə bilər ya yox?
Yəni bu döyüşdür, burada bilmək olmur. Bilirsiniz, ani bir udar hər şeyi həll edə bilər. Ola bilər, o da çıxa bilər finala, Mansur Barnav da çıxa bilər finala. Yəni mən orada belə deyəndə namizəd Barnavı görürəm. Yəni baxmayaraq ki, indi orada müəyyən rəqiblərdə dəyişiklik olub. Sidney Outland yerinə Primus vuruşur Barnav ilə. Yəni mən namizəd orada Barnavı görürəm finala çıxan. Və hələ ki, hərə öz birinci döyüşünü fikirləşir. Yəni bizim qarşımızda duran hələlik plan budur. Yəni ora gəlib çatanda hər şey aydın olacaq.
Well, this is a fight game. One punch can change everything, so you never know. My personal prediction is I see Mansur Barnawi coming out of that bracket. There, as you know, there was also a change in the opponent. Sidney Outlaw is out now. Brent Primus is replacing him to face Mansur Barnawi. Yeah, it's gonna be interesting matchup as well. But my personal prediction is that Barnawi is gonna probably come out of that side. But for us, we're focused on the next opponent, like every other fighter is. So we're looking forward to that. And once the fights play out the way they do, we're gonna sit and see what's next for us.
Yeah, absolutely. Got to worry about the one in front of you before you can worry about the others. That's for sure. But I want to also ask you, Tofiq, about, another one of the guys in the Grand Prix, AJ McKee. Obviously, his last fight, he went over to Ryusei, your old stomping grounds, and got the win over past opponent of yours, too, Roberto Satoshi, the lightweight champ in Ryusei. I know that was one you're probably interested in. Just what did you think of that fight? And I guess both guys' performances. It was a very close fight, and I think you could score in either direction. But just what did you make of that one? A pretty fun matchup at lightweight there in Ryusei.
Başqa bir rəqib haqqında səninlə danışmaq istəyirəm və o AJ McKee-dir, potensial rəqib. Bildiyin kimi AJ McKee sənin keçmiş çempion olduğun organizasiyada Ryusei-də döyüş keçirdib. Ryusei-də lightweight çempiona qarşı, Roberto Satoshi-yə qarşı, o da sənin rəqibin olub. O çox yaxın bir döyüş oldu. Fərqli cürə baxıb, fərqli tərəfə oğuduşu vermək olardı mənim fikrimcə. Sən bəs nə fikirləşsən o döyüş haqqında və fikirlərini bildir zənət olmasın.
Maraqlı döyüş idi. Buna baxmayaraq ki, kimin hazırlığı yüksək səviyyədə idi, o da qalib gəldi.
It was an interesting fight. Whoever was more prepared, whoever came out more prepared won the fight, in my opinion.
All right, fair enough, man. And, obviously Bellator and Ryusei working very closely together these days and have been for a little bit now. And, obviously it was really fun watching you and Ryusei, competing under the rule set and having all the success that you did, winning the tournament there. Do you think you'll ever have a chance to go back and fight there? Just, obviously maybe for a fight or two, not permanently or anything, but would that be something to be open to, Tofiq, if there was the opportunity for you to step back in the ring, to where you were before?
Sən Ryusei-də artıq vuruşmuşsan, sözlüdür, sən çempion olmuşdun. Sənin fikrincə, sən ora qayıdıb haçansa çox döyüşlü kontakta da yox. Sadəcə bir döyüşlü keçmiş çempion olduğun organizasiyada çıxıb vuruşmaq istəyərdin, gələcəyə necə baxırsan?
Təbii ki, mən istəyərəm karyeramı orada bitireyim. Yəni, ən axırıncı döyüşümü orada keçirim. Yəni, doğrudan da o publika mənim üçün çox doğmadır. Mən orada o publikaya mən Ryusei-də tanınmışam və mən oranın rəhbərliyinə, Sakakibaraya, Shingoya özlərinin təşəkkürümü bildirirəm ki, ilk növbədə mənim üçün bu şəraiti yaradıblar. Mən orada öz gücümü sınamışam və layiqincə ölkəmi, bayrağımı təmsil eləmişəm. və çempionlardan qazanmışam Grand Prix-də. Və mənim üçün maraqlı olar təbii ki. Yəni mən orada tanınmışam, o publika mənim üçün doğmadır. Təbii ki, mən orada döyüşmək istəyərəm.
Honestly, I would love to end my career at Ryzen. I would love to have my last fight at Ryzen as well. I would like to thank Sakakibara and Shinga, the management of Ryzen, for the opportunities they gave me, because I made a name at that promotion. I made a name. I tested myself there. I represented my country. I raised my flag. I won the Grand Prix. I love the audience of Japan. That audience is home to me. I love the people of Japan. So of course, I'm looking forward to returning one day. And as I said, having my last fight there as well, probably.
Yeah, man, that's a really cool idea. Didn't even think about that, but that would be awesome to see that happen when the time comes. Obviously, not too close, as you got plenty more work to do and titles to achieve. But I gotta wonder, Tofiq, like it's always a weird thing when people go from Ryzen to different promotions or from different promotions to Ryzen because they allow a little bit of different rules, and obviously the knee strikes and stomps to the ground are kind of the big ones people look at, and then they score fights differently a little bit with the whole fight rather than round by round. So for you, has that been hard at all adjusting to the rule and scoring differences in Bellator since you've made the transition over yet, or has it been pretty easy so far?
Bir hamı çox vaxt nəyə fikir verir Bellator-la Ryzen arasında olan fərqə? Təbii ki, biraz qanunlar fərqlidir. Misal üçün, sən yerdə olanda diz atmaq birində olar, o birisində olmaz. Sonra Ryzen-də round by round yox, daha çox bütün döyüşə baxıb hakimlər qərar verirlər, amma halbuki Bellator-da o biraz fərqlidir. Və sən Bellator-a köçəndə bu yeniliklərə öyrəşmək sənin üçün çətin olub, yoxsa sən çox rahat öyrəşdin bu təzə qanunlara?
Hələ belə deyil, tam hələ belə o isinməmişəm o oktagona. Yəni ringdən 20 saniyə, 28 saniyə vuruşmuşam. Növbəti yarışlarda yəqin ki fərqi hiss eləyəcəm.
Honestly, I don't feel myself used to the cage yet, to be honest, because I only spent 27 seconds in the cage so far. And adjusting from ring to a cage is a little different, but I'm sure that in the upcoming fights, I'm going to be more prepared and feel more comfortable.
Yeah, for sure. And you got the 5 rounds to do it with the tournament format too. So we'll take some getting the feet wet, of course, as you continue on. But all right, Tofiq, man, it's been great. Just 2 more questions I got for you here. I'm curious, man, so many great victories again, so many great performances, highlight reels on your resume. Do you have a victory that stands out the most to you, the victory you're most proud of in your career so far?
Sənin çoxlu uduqların var bu sənin karyeranda. Sənin fikrincə, sənin ən sevdiyin və ən xoşladığın hansısa bir finish var, yoxsa yox? Hansısa bir döyüşlərindən?
Yadda qalan döyüş.
Yadda qalan knockout yenəsən.
Yadda qalan döyüş Pitbull'la olub. Belə ən tez knockout Bellator olub.
Yeah, the fight that I remember the most is with Patrici, and the fastest and my favorite knockout was in Bellator.
Yeah, both very good ones indeed, so can't go wrong with either of those, sir. So, yeah, some good choices. Many to choose from, but those are definitely some very memorable ones. So, all right, Tofiq. Last thing I will leave you with, man, tough one, but always fascinated to hear fighters' answers in this one. But if you never got into MMA, what do you think you'd be doing instead in your life right now, Tofiq?
Bir axırıncı sualım sənə var, ondan sonra sənə baxacağım. Sən MMA ilə məşğul olmasaydın, nə ilə məşğul olardın?
Mən özümü idmansız təsvir eləmirəm.
Təsəvvür eləmirsən?
At sürərdim yəqin ki.
He says, I would not imagine myself as any other type of athlete. I would ride horses. I
Ben
assume.
at sürmeye hoşlayıyorum.
I love riding horses.
Okay, there we go. So a big animal guy. Maybe you would do something with animals then.
Maybe we do what?
Animals.
Yeah, görəm sən heyvan həvəskarsan.
Hadi.
Yeah, big time.
All
At da
right.
tecrübe hoşlayıyorum.
Especially horses.
All right, there we go. So Tofiq, the horse trainer in another life, but not this one. So good hobby to have, though. Very cool.
O biri həyatda deyir at məşqçisi olmusan yəqin, amma bu həyatda yox, təəssüflər olsun ki.
All right, man. Well, this has been great, Tofiq. Very much looking forward to the fight coming up here, and as always, looking forward to your fights. Been a great career to watch so far. So congratulations on all your success that you've had, and wishing you the best of luck with it coming up here, and I hope you have a great rest of camp and training and whatnot. So I will be down in the fight, down at the fight to watch it in person too. So I'll see you there. Going to be a good time. And just thanks so much for taking the time to chat here today, man. Been wanting to do it for a while. So again, just wishing you the best of luck, and thank you so much.
Deyirsən, gələcək döyüşündə sənə uğurlar arzulayıram. Mən özüm də orada olacağım döyüş günü. Səni orada üz-üzə görməyə də gözləyirəm o momenti. Və sən hazırlıqda sənə uğurlar arzulayıram və döyüşündə də bir daha uğurlar arzulayıram. Çox sağ ol sərflədiyin vaxta görə, mənimlə danışdığına görə.
Sen de çok sağ ol ki yani bizi dikkatli saxlamısan, işıqlandırmısan, maraqlanmısan. Biz de sana sonsuz teşekkür edirik. Çok sağ ol diqqətinə görə. Görüşmək ümidiyle.
Thank you for keeping us in mind as well and giving us this platform to speak up and talk about ourselves. So I'm looking forward to meeting you again, and thank you.
And last but not least, it's the one and only Ryusei Ashizawa. All right, Ryusei, man, great to see you. Great to chat. I mean, see you're in the gym. Just how's the day been going for you? Just how's 2023 gotten off to as a start for you?
芦田選手、今日お時間いただいてありがとうございます。今もうインタビューということなんですが、今年、芦田選手にとって今までどんな1年ですか？
今年は、まあ、俺の凄さがみんなわかる1年ですね。
Yeah, so this year it started out great, and this year will continue be a year that will show my greatness.
Love to hear it, man. I mean, you showed off the greatness at Ryusei 40, singing your way down the aisle. Very impressive way to make an entrance, sir. I mean, what inspired this kind of little show you put on at the New Year's Eve show?
芦田選手のライジン初登場、ライジン40で、踊りながら、ライジン40、歌いながら花道を降りてくるというライジンでも前代未聞の初登場をしたわけなんですが、あの背景、どういういきさつでああいう登場の仕方になったんでしょ
う？まあ、ライジンで、そこにラッパーが歌ってもつまんないじゃないですか。盛り上がらないじゃないですか。俺どんくらい盛り上げられるのかなと思ってやったら盛り上がったんで、まあ、生ゾンド一発目、ライジンで歌いたかったんで、いい宣伝になったっすね。まあ、俺が好きなようにやっただけですね。
So obviously that show was a shit show up until my appearance, and I figured that just walking down that ramp normally wouldn't entertain people. So I went in there. I offered my best solution to make the best part of the show, and I walked down with my rap. That was my song, and it turned out to be a great promotion for my new song, and it was all about me. I did what I wanted to do, and it turned out to be great. So,
yeah, I mean, it was certainly very memorable, man. We definitely won't forget that moment. And so I got to wonder, for your actual Ryusei debut entrance, are you going to sing your own entrance song for that too? Or are you going to keep this a secret and wait till fight night to share with everybody? I got to wonder, though.
芦澤選手の入場で間違いなく私とか海外の、初めて芦澤選手を見る人たちも、非常に記憶に強く残ったと思います。それでですね、次の試合の方のデビューなんですが、入場の時もご自身の入場を自分で歌って入場するんですか？それともそれは秘密ですか？どういう入場を考えてますか？
いや、俺は前のやつは歌わないですけど、違うの歌って お客さんしっかり楽しませようと思ってるっすね。
Yeah, so I have another song in mind. It's not going to be the same one, but I'm going to make sure that I personally entertain the fans and make sure they get what they want from my walkout.
All right, looking forward to it, man. And I got how long have you been singing for, Ryusei? I know that you have, obviously been singing for a little bit, but how long has this been going on? Longer than fighting or about the same? When did it start for you?
芦沢選手がこうアーティストとして活動してるのって実際どれくらいやられてるんですか？格闘技キャリアよりも長いですか？
いや、全然です。2年ぐらい、2年とか、2年ぐらいですかね、アーティストは。
Yeah, not that long. I've been working as an artist for about 2 years now.
Okay. All right. And what made you want to get into that?
このアーティストの方にこう手を伸ばしてみたいと思うきっかけとなったのは何ですか？
いや、普通に、俺、クラブとかよく行って遊んでるんで、クラブ行ってる時に、踊ってるやつらの方が、歌ってるやつらの方が面白いでしょってなって、俺もそっち側に行きたいわっていう遊びの延長っす。遊びの延長っすだから。
So I party a lot and I go to a lot of clubs and I see all these guys hanging out. I used to be the guy on the floor, but I figured that being on the stage would be better, right? Be cooler. So I decided to be on the stage instead of being on the floor. And it's just a hobby. It's just a hobby that it led somewhere, and I didn't really think too much about it.
Yeah, can't beat that, man. It's working out. It's very entertaining. Like you said, you're just a born natural entertainer, and we see that in the ring and out of the ring. And we saw that at the recent press conference, man. I missed it until somebody showed me a clip afterward, but I got to ask, like, the running kick on Koji at the press conference, like, what happened there? Obviously, I don't speak Japanese very well at all, so I didn't quite hear what the exchange was, but what happened there to lead to the kick at the press conference, man? What was going on?
芦澤選手は本当に心の底から、リングの中でも外でもこうエンターテイナーとしてのこの質が染みついてるんだと思うんですけれども、この間の会見でスピードで走って飛び蹴りをかましたと思うんですが、私実際日本語で何があったのかわからないんですけれども、実際どういう心境であそこまで行ったのか、実際私もツイッターで流れてくるまで知らなくて、どういういきさつでああいう風になったのか、ちょっと説明していただいてもよろしいですか？
記者会、大晦日の記者会見あったじゃないですか。あの時になんか、俺に言葉で負けたからって、かかってこいとか言ってムカついたんですよ。お前喧嘩するんだったら、お前だけなんか喧嘩相手になんねえぞと思ったんで。で、それで、なんかあいつがコーチが記者会見一人でやった時あったんですけど、その時に、言いたいことばっか言って、本当の話じゃなくて嘘の話ばっかしてたんで、もうムカついてたんですよ。で、来いって言われたらもうやってやろうかなって舐められたくないんで、来いって言ったらもう本当に言ってやるからなって俺はもう思ってたんで、普通に来いって言ったからやってやったっすね。あれだから次は、あれはまだ手加減して腹蹴ったっすけど、次顔面蹴ってもそこで終わらしてやってもいいんで、次舐めた台取って俺にかかってこいとか言ったらその場で終わらしてやるからなって感じなんで、楽しみにしてほしいです。試合前にもしかしたらもうあいつのこと終わらせるかもしれないんで、次は。
So, we obviously had the verbal interaction on New Year's Eve. And clearly, I won that round. He had nothing to say. I fully beat him in the first round. And he didn't admit it. He didn't admit that I beat his ass in round 1 on New Year's Eve. And then he's out there talking smack about me, saying that, if I wanted a chance, I have to go after him. It doesn't make any sense. He lost the first fight. He lost the fight, the verbal fight against me. And he said that, well, let's fight. Well, if he wanted to fight me in a street fight, it's not going to even happen. So, he's just on this stuff. And he shows up in a Horizon press conference on his own, says this and that. None of it's true. He's just trying to build his way, talk his way into becoming the good guy. So, he's just big ass liar. And, I was determined for that press conference. I was determined if he told me to come at me or come at him, I was going to go. So some heated exchanges happened. He told me to come at me. So I was like, okay. I went over there, I ran and freaking kicked him in the gut. But next time he says that, I'm not going to be so nice. I'm going to kick him in the face and end his career right there. So maybe we might not even end up fighting in Osaka because I might just finish it right there when he says, come at me once again. I'm going to kick him in the face and I'll end his career right there. So we might even get that fight, but we'll see.
Yeah, I guess we'll have to wait and see. So hopefully, maybe you need some security for you guys. My goodness, crazy. And obviously, not a big fan of Koji, are you, Ryusei? So I got to wonder, like, I think I saw some comments from you maybe at that press conference, but is it as simple as like him not wanting to fight you earlier in your guys' careers? Or is there kind of more deeply to it before, the back and forth that you guys have had since New Year's Eve and then at the press conference? Like, where does it kind of really stem from the dislike for Koji for you?
芦澤選手はコージ選手のことが嫌いだっていうのが、伝わってくるんですが、これってもともとって元をたどるとどこがきっかけでコージ選手のことが嫌いになったんですか？
人間が俺とは生き方が違うですね。あいつは、簡単に言うと、オカマ野郎っすね。オカマ野郎。言ってることも全部筋が通ってないオカマ野郎っすね。かっこよくもなんともないんですよ。かっこよくないやつがかっこいいこと言ってるのが俺は腹立つんです。それだけですね。
I think it all comes down to just personality. I don't like him. I think we're just built differently. We don't think differently, and frankly, I think he's a fag. And he's not manly. He changes his opinions left and right every day. What he says, he doesn't follow up on what he says. So, he pretends like he's the cool guy. He says cool things, but realistically, he's not cool at all. So I think we're just built differently. I don't like him as a person. We just don't get along.
All right, fair enough, man. Yeah, I don't have to be friends in fighting, so you're lucky to have that luxury. But as the fighting aspect, though, Ryusei, like, as a fighter, do you respect him at all? Or, how do you feel about him as an opponent for you and how you guys match up? I think one of his biggest aspects has been he's very, very tough, very hard to finish, as we've seen in his career. But are there anything that stands out to you that as, maybe dangerous, or just how do you feel about him as a fighter overall, especially as now your opponent?
芦澤選手がコーチ選手が人間的に好きじゃないのがよくわかりました。その上で格闘家として認める部分あったりしますか？例えば打たれ強いとか倒れないとか、格闘家として見たとき何か尊敬できる部分はあったりしますか？
もう普通に打たれ強いし、いい試合とか熱い試合はするっすね。でも、勝ってないのになんか、すごいだろみたいなのとかキモいし、俺からしたらあいつのレベルは全然上がってないっていうか、ただ泥試合をしてるだけで。で、打たれ強いとか打たれ強いって言われてるけど、俺は必ず今回の試合倒せると思ってるんで、みんな倒せないって思ってるかもしれないけど、俺は必ず今回の試合終わらせれると思ってるんです。で、あいつ今回引退っすね。
So I gotta give it to him. He's durable. He puts on great fights. He puts on slugfests, and I give it to him that. But I just don't like the fact that he tries to take credit for something that he's not. He's not a great fighter. I mean, he puts on good fights, but he's not a good fighter. His level is low. It has not improved. And frankly, all of his fights lack in technique. That's why they turn out to be all heart and guts. They're low quality fights. So, a lot of people are saying that, he's durable. He's never been knocked down. He's never been knocked out. But I guarantee you this, for this fight, I am going to knock him out and I'm going to retire him. So this will be his last fight. And you all have to witness that.
All right. There we go. A nice prediction there. So we'll look forward to it. And I got to wonder too, Ryusei, it'll be the first fight for you of the year. So like, how do you want to build off of that win that you're expecting here? Like, what is the long-term goal and where you want to take your career after a, Ryzen debut and a win over Koji in this one? Would you want to start like, Ryzen kickboxing titles? What is kind of the idea for you afterward? If you're a guy who looks ahead at all, obviously not to look past Koji maybe, but do you kind of look into the future in any regard?
当然今コージ選手の目の前の試合に集中していると思うんですが、今年初めての試合コージ選手に勝ったとして、芦澤選手ライジンでどういう野望を持ってますか？どういうゴールを描いてますか？
ライジン、MMA で、それ終わったら MMA に行って、 で、まあ、普通に、MMA は別に特に考えてなくて、ただ、どんどんどんどん俺は強いと思うんで、片っ端から強いやつをどんどん倒していくだけですか。まだ MMA もデビューしてないんで、でかいことはまあ、でかいことっていうか、俺は UFC になってるんで、そもそもその日本人選手負けるじゃ無理だろうと思ってるんですけど、徐々に、ライジンが当ててくれる強い選手を一個一個倒していって、まあ、俺の実力をつけていこうかなと思ってますね。
So after this fight, I'm totally committing myself to MMA. I'm gonna start fighting MMA, and I'm just gonna continue to beat guys rising puts in front of me. Not to sound arrogant, because I haven't even made my MMA debut yet, and I know that it's not that tough. I mean, not that easy. But my ultimate goal is to make it into the UFC and fight in the UFC. So I believe that after I make my MMA career, I can't be losing to these guys in Japan in MMA. So I'm just gonna, I can't really be a big mouth, but I'm gonna transition to MMA, beat everybody that Ryzen puts in front of me, and then I'm just gonna do what I do best in MMA as well.
All right, very cool, man. Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned that because I wanted to bring it up. I know that you said that you wanted to fight Koji actually in MMA rather than a kickboxing match, right? So I'm curious, like, let's say this happens, because I think some MMA ideas have been presented to Koji too, but let's say you go beat him in your kickboxing match here at Ryzen 41. Would you be willing to give him, let's say you retire him, right, in kickboxing, like you said, predictions and everything, would you have a rematch with him in your MMA debut if he was down for it afterward?
芦澤選手がもともとコージ選手と MMA でやりたいっていうのはまあ聞いてました。その中で今回ルールがこういうふうにキックに落ち着いたわけなんですが、じゃあ仮に41で芦澤選手がコージ選手に勝って引退させますと。もしそうなった場合、コージ選手との MMA のリマッチはやらせてあげてもいいと思いますか？
いや、ないっすね。ない、引退っていうか、引退別にしてもしなくてもどっちもいいんですよ、俺に負けて。でも、俺に負けた時点であいつの勝因価値はなくなるんで。で、あいつにキックボクシングで俺が勝って、MMA でもう一回再戦させてくれって誰も見たくないし、MMA で俺がやってあいつに勝てるように決まってるし、まあ、あいつのルール、あいつがMMA できないからキックボクシングルールでやってあげてるだけで、なんでキックボクシングルールで勝ったのに MMA であんなやつと2回もやる必要もないんで、誰も見たくないんで、MMA で強いやつでやりたいですね。そんなコーチなんかとやりたくないですね。あいつはキックルールで終わらせて終わりです。
So to answer your question, Drake, that's not going to happen. Because the moment he loses to me, his quality as a fighter is gone. Like he's a done deal. So I'm fighting kickboxing. I'm fighting him under kickboxing under his rules. And if I beat him under the rules that he wants, why the hell do I have to fight him in the rules I want? Because I'm going to dominate him anyways in MMA. No one wants to see that. So the moment I beat him in kickboxing, he is done. And that's the end of him. I don't really care if he retires or not. Like, his value is gone. So for me, I'm just going to move on, and I want to continue to fight better fighters, not losers like Koji.
All right. I think there's some sound logic to that, sir. Definitely a solid explanation. I was just curious, because that was something you did mention earlier on. So a fair response, I would say. But I wanted to ask specifically about the kickboxing and how you got into it, Ryusei, because obviously had a good long career now, and obviously you're ready to make that jump to MMA, as you just mentioned. But what made you want to get into kickboxing in the first place? Like, was there any interest in starting with MMA first, or like how did you kind of make the decision to go down the path you did?
芦澤選手は長いキックボクシングキャリアを経て、今これから MMA に転向しようっていう転機を迎えてるんです。そも芦澤選手は、どういうきっかけでキックボクシングを始めたのか、そもそも最初から MMA やるっていう選択肢はなかったのか、どういういきさつでキックボクシングを始めたのか、ちょっと聞かせてください。
普通に中学生の時、調子乗って、喧嘩なんか誰にも負けないよって時期あるじゃないですか。その時に、髪の毛切ってた床屋さんが、キックボクシング俺やってるから来るってなったんで、なんか余裕だろっつって言って、なんか、普通に、 あ、俺このレベルなのかと思って、こんなんじゃ調子乗ってられないなって思って普通に強くなったっすね。で、あと MMA は別に、最初は MMA やる気なかったっすね。普通に立ち技の方がかっこいいだろうと思ったっすけど、最近になってっていうか、20歳ぐらいの時から、何でもありの方がかっこいいなって思い始めたっすね。
Right. So, you know how all kids go through that phase where you feel like you're invincible, like you're on the streets, you're tough, you're the toughest kid on the block, you've never lost. You feel like you're invincible. So I went through that stage, and at the time, my barber introduced me to a kickboxing gym that he was going to. So obviously, I felt that I would never lose, but I went there, got my ass kicked, and found out where I was. So, I got humbled, and that's when I started to actually train to be able to put my abilities to where my mouth is. So that's how I started kickboxing. That's how I got into kickboxing. As far as MMA, I've actually never thought about training MMA, but I've always thought strikers, just striking is just much cooler. MMA is just not as cool. But ever since I started to become like 20, I started to feel that the lesser amount of restrictions, the better, the cooler you are. The more harsher competition you put yourself in, I feel is, it's more appealing as a guy. So that's when I started to feel MMA might be it.
All right. Very nice. Very interesting, sir. So I got to wonder then, what would you say has been the victory you're most proud of in your career to this point?
芦田選手、今、キャリアを振り返ってみて、一番自分の中で満足度の高い試合っていうのは何戦になりますでしょうか？
一回引退して、もう一回戻った時にね、俺格闘技しかないなって戻った時にやった島野先生、島野幸太郎先生ね。K1 でやった。
Yeah, I do believe that the fight against Kotaro Shimano, that fight in K1 was the most meaningful fight for me. That's after I retired, I made my comeback, and that fight made me realize that this is all I have. Fighting is all I have. That's the most memorable fight for me.
Well, certainly a good reason to pick that one, man. So I can't go wrong. Good win indeed. So, and more to come, Ryusei. But this has been great. I will leave you with one last thing, sir. Always like to talk about things outside of MMA too. And obviously you got some great artwork on you, some good tattoos, man. You got the head one. I know you got a big, dragon back piece. I got to ask you then to close things out here, Ryusei. What is your favorite tattoo, man? Do you have one that stands out to you that you like more than the others you have?
最後の質問になりますが、芦澤選手、すごくいろんなアートワークを体に作ってて、それこそ頭の部分だ、背中にもドラゴンがあると思うんですが、ご自身で今一番気に入ってるピースはどれになりますでしょうか？
背中の竜ですね。俺が20歳の時に入れた背中の竜がずっと好きですね。
Yeah, it's gotta be the back piece. The one on my back I got when I was 20. That's definitely my favorite one.
Yeah, definitely some good stuff, man. So can't beat a good tattoo, sir. So you got some good ones indeed. But all right, Ryusei. Well, I'll leave it off there. I know you're obviously itching to get back in the gym, I can see, but I appreciate you taking the time so much, man. You're a very entertaining fighter, very entertaining personality. So I appreciate you taking the time and look forward to watching you. Wish you the best of luck in the Ryzen debut and hope that we get to see the Koji fight. Hopefully you don't beat him up before it happens. So big arigato gozaimashita for taking the time, sir. And again, looking forward to the rest of the career and the MMA debut when it does come later this year. Just wishing all the best.
芦澤選手、本当に今日はお忙しい中お時間いただいてありがとうございます。これから多分練習だと思うので、ぜひとも練習していただいてですね、芦澤選手が本当にリングの外でもなった手なのはすごくよくわかりましたんで、願わくばですね、大阪の大会試合前に決着つかないように、リング上での試合にますので、これからも頑張って MMA のキャラの方も応援してますので、頑張ってください。
よろしくお願いします。ありがとうございます。
ありがとうございました。
ありがとうございました。
All right, Shingo, we are at the end of yet another episode. Thank you guys so much for tuning in till the end here of episode 24 of Broadened Horizon. Another good one, another entertaining one as we get ready for Ryzen 41. It is community question time. That is what this means. If you're unfamiliar with the show, but if you are here at episode 24 and at the end, you should know by now. So we thank you dearly for sticking it out to the end, and hopefully you enjoyed our great lineup today. But all right, Shingo, before we get to community questions, I do want to ask you specifically about Ashizawa and if it was problematic with the running kick at the press conference. Like, was there any trouble from that? I mean, I know obviously in Japan and whatnot, we don't usually see those kind of outbursts. It's maybe more reserved not to point fingers, but we see those kind of things in Russia a lot. But I don't know, was there any worries from like commissions or anything when he did that? Like, what was it like in the room, I guess?
It's fine. I mean, sometimes there are certain fighters that are expected to do certain things, and we were well aware of what Ashizawa is capable of, and we are well aware of how provocative Koji can get. So, when you see the staff rushing in, they were pretty quick. Funny thing is, I actually got a message from a Bellator staff saying that, hey, who's the guy who rushed in first? So like from a staff's point of view, like you kind of know what's going on.
Yeah.
Right? Which ones have potential, which ones don't. So
especially those two guys. I mean, two of the bigger personalities obviously colliding. So
yeah, it's rare for us to have those, but it's nice to have those every once in a while, right? Like if you're a promoter, you gotta love those.
Yeah. I just thought it was hilarious too, like seeing Keitaro in the background, just like so like the whole thing was a sight that you don't normally see at the press conferences. So left an impression.
It definitely it's not Ryzen color to do that, I guess.
Yeah. Well, he is an outsider, right? Technically. So.
Right. Bringing in.
Yeah, absolutely. So I was just curious about that though, because like that's the type of stuff, Dana would talk down upon, but he secretly loves it. He loves that shit. He won't say it, but then they use it in the promotional packages and all that. Like I'm sure we'll see that too ahead of the fight. So it's just business. It's smart.
Hey, Ashizawa may be throwing things around at buses and stuff. I don't know.
Yeah, we'll have to wait and see. My goodness. Crazy times, but looking forward to that. So anyway, wanted to get that out of the way before we get to the community questions. Thank you so much, you guys, for asking. And of course, we have our man MVP. We should just retitle it King CO 24 community questions as he kicks us off here with the first one, Shingo. So I want to pre-warn you, and I'll let everybody know that Shingo doesn't see the questions before we do the community questions. So today they're pretty much they're mostly kind of about us, Shingo. It's not so much about, the typical type of things we get. So hope you're ready. But King CO asks, how did you get involved with Ryzen, Shingo? Were you with the promotion from the start?
Yes, I was. I was with the promotion. The promotion announced Ryzen had their big press conference in Roppongi in October of 2015. That's when Sakakibara had everybody, all the promoters there. Like I was there from, I helped make that press conference happen. So I've been part of Ryzen from July 2015. So yes, from the very beginning.
All right, there we go. And going strong now. Look at that. What is this? We're coming up on the decade mark, Shingo. It's almost a 10-year anniversary. Crazy. Time flies. Man, I always feel like Ryzen is still like super young, and I guess it technically is, but when you reach the double digits, though, it's kind of crazy. So.
Yes.
All right, and his second question is, what is the most... Oh, I love this one. I hope you give us a good one that you can share, Shingo. But he says, what is the most interesting trip story that you can share about traveling internationally with Sakakibara? I'm sure there's plenty. Some that we have talked about, maybe. One that you can share.
This definitely caught me off guard. I need to be prepared for this stuff. Which ones I can share? Can I pass on this one?
Of course. Of course. Well, I mean, hey, how was we haven't talked about it since we both finally met in person at Bellator 290. How was, that trip from your side of things? Obviously, we didn't get to do anything too crazy, just at the press conference day and everything met up. But and then you stayed for an extra week. Just how was the last trip, right? Because obviously you haven't gone international since then.
Yeah, last trip we got a lot done. Obviously, the main thing was, Sakakibara. It was important that Sakakibara was there for Fedor's last fight. Just out of respect, it was important for him to be there. As long as we're there, we're gonna talk business with Scott Coker, and just future plans and see what we can do. So, we got a lot done. Obviously, we were fortunate to be able to check out the Lakers game. And LeBron, we happened to be there when LeBron.
Oh, that was the one.
That was the one. We were there when that, and it was a great experience, and we learned a lot from that. Sakakibara was like, "Oh, we should do some things for entertainment. U.S. is the mecca of entertainment. There's so much to learn," and he was all excited, and I think there was a lot of things that he took back from that experience.
Very cool. And what was it? I saw that what kind of a tentative schedule was kind of released during one of the last press conferences, right? And I saw something about what is the Horizon targeted event for Hawaii. A couple months down the line. Am I see it? Was this inaccurate? Or
no, it I mean, we are definitely wanting to do an event in Hawaii. The targeted event, or the time of the year was June, but we're not quite sure. It's all tentative right now.
Yeah. Okay.
If we're gonna do it internationally, we want to make it.
Yeah, of course. So, yeah, I remember seeing that. I just wasn't sure exactly how concrete this stuff was, but yeah, and that'll be fun. And Bellator is also going back at the end of April, as they do, so that'll be fun for them. Good shows always. But yeah, there are plenty of trip stories, Kingseo. Don't you worry. There's just a lot to sift through. So sorry to disappoint you. But all right, then for his third question, he asks, which Japanese promotion do you enjoy the most while scouting talent?
I enjoy a lot. I just enjoy these fights in general, I think. It's really, it's really awkward. I'm not going to rank them or anything.
Right.
It's just weird because obviously, Deep is more of the feeder for Ryzen. So when you go to Deep events, you see a lot of familiar faces, more for the casual fans. It's a good introduction for hardcore and casual fans, because a lot of the fighters who are fighting, you already know from Ryzen, or, it's more of like, okay, you can check out for guys who enjoy prospect watch. Deep is a great way promotion watch prospects. I think Pancrase has their own color. They have a great way. They have their different style of promoting their fights and fighters. They're more of, let's take on North America. Let's bring EFL, Bellator, UFC. They're doing their own thing. A lot of high competition in Pancrase. Shuto is definitely a great atmosphere. I personally love going to Shuto fights, even though I haven't been to one for a while. But whenever I go, I really enjoy the atmosphere. It's totally different. It's more like strict competition. Not too many like bros or underground, guys with tattoos all over themselves. Or it's more of a clean, sporty event, I would say. Although it's MMA, I would say there's definitely more sport aspects, like respect to Shuto events, I think. But that's that. Grachan is always wild. The fights are awesome. A lot of their fights are just like freaking slobber knockers, and you see fights. You see a lot of brawlers from Grachan. A Gladiator in Osaka, they're doing a lot of things with Korea. They're bringing in international fighters. So Gladiator, they do a lot of shows on the West Coast. War Dog, Nexus, I do enjoy going to Nexus as well. It's just, it's hard to choose.
Yeah.
I can't really choose. I mean, it's just they're all good in their own.
Plenty of good choices to choose from, Shingo. Do you have like a specific process or anything? I know you probably can't get around to in-person events all too often because of how busy you are, but is there any specific way you go about, looking for talent and whatnot?
Yeah, I mean, obviously we're unlike most promotions where there's only like one or two matchmakers. Like we have a lot of matchmakers in Ryzen, and we all have our different visions. We all have our different styles. You know, some matchmakers are really good at putting together those, you know, the freak shows. Some guys are really good at putting together legitimate fights. Like, so we have our you know, strengths and weaknesses. So obviously, when you look at Deep, you know, Mr. Psyche, Big Shig, you know, he owns that thing. So he has access to all the Deep fighters, and you know, and that pool. But I take care of the rest of the region where, you know, Big Shig is not too close with, or for Christian or whatever it is. There's a lot of politics. You know, it's a small country, it's a small industry, it's a very conservative culture, it's a conservative market. So, you know, we just all reach out and help each other out, and make sure that we have access to the entire pie.
Of course, yeah. I mean, you split it as best as you can, right? So, all right. Well, appreciate those as always, King CO. You are the man, the MVP of the community questions. But we move along to another MVP of sorts, Ozeki _Jim, to be more specific. Starting things off, he asks, the Confession series has always been great YouTube content. Is there any plans to expand and do more of that type of content?
Yeah. Why not?
I mean, I saw the video that you did from the trip the past week. That was kind of cool. A little different. Didn't have English subtitles, but a little bit of a vlog of sorts.
I mean, yeah, I mean, I would love to put subtitles on there, but it's just
more work.
Time consuming.
yeah, it's the worst. It's the worst.
It's not hard, but it just takes so much time.
Right. So, and I mean, the Confession series, that's the bread and butter anyway. So it's like, you know, there's nothing wrong with them. But yeah, Ozeki Jim, he likes his content. He wants the goods, so can't blame him. I'm sure he's not alone there. But again, can only do so much at such a high pace, I guess you could say. But his second question is, are there any places Shingo would like to see a Ryzen event take place that hasn't happened yet? Is what he says. That you don't have to commit to it, just wondering your preference of a place that you'd like to see a Ryzen event take place.
In Japan?
He does not specifically say Japan, but let's do Japan and not Japan, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, you know, I'd like to travel Japan. I'd like to go. I can hit you this. I think we might do a new location in Japan this year.
Okay.
So somewhere we have never been to.
Okay.
So that's something exciting for the people in that area. And it would be nice to be able to do Ryzen events internationally that allows our original rule sets.
Right.
Yeah, that would be one thing that, you know, we would like to do.
Yeah, got to get the people on board with that, because I mean, would there be any consideration of doing it without that? It just wouldn't be the same, right? Like, to do Ryzen with.
No, we can totally do that. I mean, you know, we can do Ryzen under Unified MMA. That's no problem. But, you know, it's just we believe that those rules just make the fight more active, more fluid. Lack of stalling, because it's got to keep, like, there's no place to rest. Yeah. You can't be protected by the rules. You know, so you have to constantly be alert, which keeps the fight more active. And it's not, you know, it doesn't deliver additional violence. Well, I guess it does. It does, but
a little bit.
And as often, you know, it mostly lands somebody's resting, or what fighter is doing something that they're not supposed to be doing. That's when it lands.
Yeah.
So, you know, and we talked about with JMOC, with our commission too, but they're like, whenever they're operating under those rules, the referees are way more alert. Like, so they know that when something like that lands, they know that the person who receives that attack is not there, is not. So, you know, usually soccer, you don't really get to see 4, 5, 6 soccer ball kicks in a row. Like one.
Yeah. One, you're good.
So that just explains, you know, the situation.
Yeah.
So if you're alert, if you're more alert, and you're not going to eat those shots. That's our argument.
No, I mean, yeah, you're not going to hear me argue, and I'm all for. I think that should be universal around the globe. So, unfortunately,
it's just perception.
But yeah,
Perception.
So, have to wait and see, I guess, if times ever end up changing. But for now, we're good with what we got. So appreciate that one, Jim. And then he closes us off here asking, when will we see Drake at a Ryzen event? And I need the answer to that one too. I don't have it for you, unfortunately. I've been hoping to get to a New Year's Eve show to kick things off here at some point. But then the pandemic happened. That was kind of the year I think I was closest, was for Ryzen 20, which makes me even more upset because that's like the best event of all time, in my opinion. Like, I love that show so much, and just got away. Just got away. So I don't know, Jim. And with with the inflation around the world, it's making it a little bit more difficult. But I'm hoping someday to at least get to go, and I will definitely visit at some point. But for a Ryzen event, it's hard. You know, you got to really plan things out around the rest of the schedules and whatnot. But who knows? Maybe big 10-year anniversary. I would like to before then, obviously, but we'll see. I definitely, I will at some point. We'll leave it at that. Just don't know when. So appreciate the curiosity. And I saw that he went to he was at the New Year's Eve show too. So I said that was a good time when I was chatting with him. So yeah, can't beat it. Can't definitely experience worth having. So all right, well, that wraps us up for the community questions. Thank you so much to our two MVPs, Ozeki Jim and then King CO 24, and Shingo, of course, the man who helps with all the everything. Really, again, need him for the show as we talk to all the great athletes and personalities and whatnot. So, hope you guys enjoyed as always, and get ready for Ryzen 41. On April Fool's Day. Always a funny day to have MMA stuff and news. Probably my least favorite day of the year in terms of the MMA news cycle, Shingo. We always get silly business, but we get the fights this year, so that will be very fun. But until then, you guys continue to support, like, share, subscribe, do all that good stuff. Follow along, MMAmania.com and Broadened Horizon. We got you covered for all you need when it comes to the athletes and what's going on in the world of Japanese MMA and Ryzen. So thank you so much, and we will see you next time.